One sec. Okay, ready?
I'm
Okay,
ready.
go live. And yeah, and I 3, 2, 1, going live. Hi guys, so very welcome, Tivona, Elliott, beautiful guest today. She is a spiritual release coach. Tivona, very welcome. How are you today?
I am blessed. I am blessed. How are you doing today, darling?
I am good as well. So good to see you. Oh my gosh, so great. The energy and the connection is real, girl. Would you like to tell exactly what it means, the spiritual release coach? Ah, it's something beautiful.
Hey, thank you for having me. I just want to say that to everyone. And hello, hello. I am Lady V. I am Tivona Lady V, also known as Lady V. I am not just a spiritual release coach, but I am your favorite spiritual release coach because I like to go down deep, with to the bottom of the barrel where all the sticky stuff is, where we don't really like to talk about it. We don't really like to fix and literally attack. That's where you can find me. I am down there pulling up them dead roots so that you can actually start to water your tree and to rise up, and so that it can be healthy and that it can be strong, resilient, and that you can be the greatest version of you. Not anyone else, just simply you, which we forget so many times that we really hold the key. And we really need to be intentional with us because we are a priority. And we forget that we are a priority because we're so busy pouring into everybody else that we forget that we have to also water our tree or it'll die. And that's where so many of us live, is we have literally forgotten about our tree and it's dying. And a lot of times people look at it and say, oh, but it's beautiful. Yes, beautiful on the outside, but you don't know that it's decaying on the inside. And when the tree is decaying on the inside, it will eventually just fall over or kill over and die. And that's what so many of us are in that season where we forgot to water our tree so that we can literally continue to bloom and continue to flourish and be stronger and greater in our purpose. And so that's who I am. I am the person who will bring it out of you, who's going to bring the best out of you, because it's about growing. It's about being wonderfully and wonderfully made. And that's who we are. That's who God has created us to be. And that's who we will be, but we have to remember that we are a priority in this kingdom. And so once you know that, then you can start learning how to literally replant your tree so that it will grow healthy and strong. And then you can start breaking these generational curses. So when you put your branches elsewhere, they will start to root up just as strong because you broke those generational curses. And that's what we need to do. And so that's who I am in a nutshell. I'm
Beautiful.
your favorite spiritual release.
Yeah, you are. I feel the energy. You are, and I love the analogy of the tree, the roots, and the branches. Like you that, and we have the power to change, and it's so beautiful. And Tivona, do you only if you're comfortable to go and to tell, well, how did you come? Uh, what was the steps that led you into this beautiful work? When? How?
Well, man, let me tell you, it definitely was not easy. I didn't come from, you know, a beautiful scene. I actually come from where I had to be in the dirt. I was in the mud. I come from an abusive background. And so at the age of 8, my story is this: at the age of 8, I was being molested by the monsters in my house. And I say that because I was being molested by somebody that I knew. And then at the age of 10, I was running away from the monsters that was in my house, but I couldn't get away. And then by the age of 15, I was a madam because I was out there in the streets. I had nowhere to really run to, nowhere to really go, and nobody wanted to save me because nobody wanted to hear my cries because everybody felt like, oh, she all right. Oh, that didn't happen. Oh, that's that we like to sweep things under the rug. That's the reason why I'm so passionate about bringing all this dirt and all these secrets and all these things from up under this rug. Because what happens is when we do that, we build this molehill that we now have to try to climb over of foolishness, of chaos, of trauma, of all these things that's sitting there that we just pushed under the rug because we said, oh, we didn't have time. Oh, I don't want to deal with that. Oh, I don't want to do that. And we don't realize that it starts to become problems in our life down the road. And it hinder us from receiving our blessings. It hinder us from growing and being the greatest version of ourselves because we don't want to touch it. And so that I come from that. By the age of 20, by the age of 21, I was a high price call girl because I was just out here in the world because nobody believed in me. Nobody wanted to help me. Nobody was seeing that I was in my trauma. I was living in a trauma in my mind, in my body, in my world that was chaotic. But so many people wanted to talk about my circumstances instead of help me through my circumstances. And they kind of just tossed me out and disowned me and all kinds of things. And I dealt with this. And so by the time I was 25, I said, you know what? I don't want to be in the streets anymore. I want to try to feel and really go through a real relationship, find love, this and that and this and that. Well, when you don't know what love is because you never had it, it's hard to find it. Because I didn't even love me. But you couldn't tell me that I didn't love me because I was stuck and lost in my trauma that I really thought that I was out here loving myself. And in reality, I was hurting me more than I was loving me. And I didn't know that. And then I decided that somebody told me that I wasn't marriage material. A woman never wants to hear that she is not marriage material. So I wrote the book on The Unmeritable because I felt like I was the unmeritable because somebody told me that I wasn't marriage material. And so I accepted it, but I didn't. But what happened was I ended up marrying a narcissist trying to escape what they were trying to say about me. And because he was ready to marry me, not understanding that I was marrying him out of strife and he was marrying me for stability. And so it wasn't going to work anyway. We still are cordial with one another. We still talk and things like that, but it's nothing there. Like you have no control over who I am, what I am, or how I am, period. Like it stopped. But I couldn't do that if I didn't learn some things going through that relationship. Because one day I woke up and I looked myself in the mirror and I didn't recognize who I was. I literally had lost myself all the way to the point that I did not know who I was, staring myself in the mirror. And I must have stood there for so long. I know 20, 30 minutes, maybe even an hour. I don't know, but I couldn't recognize the girl in the mirror anymore. I didn't know who she was. And I started to cry. And I started to get into a depression. And a lot of times that's what we do. But I knew I was so strong that I didn't want to just sit in my depressed state. I had to do something about it. So because I am so strong and headstrong, I was like, I'm not going to sit here. I got to get up. But how do I get up? How do I get out of here? And I like to tell people that God threw me in the forest. He threw me in that forest and I can hear the traffic, but I couldn't see the traffic. I couldn't find my way out. I was so lost. And I cried so many days. Lord, please just help me out of this. And he said, well, guess what? You can come out. You could have been done came out, but you refused to listen to my voice. You refuse to actually hear and follow me because you're so busy trying to follow man and impress man. But when you start trusting and leaning on me, you will find your way out of this forest. I sat there for days, just sitting there crying, feeling sorry for myself, feeling bad, feeling like, oh, woe is me. Sometimes we get into that and nobody understands what I'm going through and nobody feels my pain and nobody, oh my gosh, I was there at that point. He didn't say a mumbling word. He just let me go through it. He didn't say a mumbling word. He just let me go through it because he had already gave my instructions. The problem with that is a lot of times we are so stubborn because we are afraid of the unknown that we won't listen to our basic instructions to go and do what it is that our purpose and do what we have been called to do because we are afraid. And so we'll woe is me. And then we mad when he don't say a mumbling word. Because he gave you your basic instructions. All you had to do was listen, trust, and walk hand in hand with him. Simple. The problem is we always think we always got the answers and it's got to be a better way and we don't want to do this and we don't want to do that and we gonna blah 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 and this and that. We went, he already tells us in his basic instructions, your plans ain't my plans and my plans ain't your plans. But we'll try to make them our plans anyway. And that's what I was doing. And he didn't say a mumbling word. He let me keep on bumping my head and bumping my head and bumping my head until I got tired of running into that brick wall and I surrendered. Once I decided to surrender, I started to find my way out. Because we fight so much against the obvious. We fight so much against the simplicity of what it is because we are afraid of what is on the other side of that road, what is on the other side of that mountain. But we don't know if we just go, we'll find our peace, we'll find our freedom, we'll find our self love, our self care, our resilience, our strength, our comfort, our peace. We'll find all these things, but we'll fight it because we're afraid of the unknown. And I was there. And so I had to unlearn the bad to relearn the real good and the real truth about me because I knew all the bad and I was living in that bad because people told me I had to. The guy said, why would you listen to them when I told you you could live abundantly? And I was like, I don't know. I had no answer. A lot of times we get questioned and we don't have a response because it was simple. It wasn't difficult. It was a simple task that we were at. But underneath that task come hard chores, which means that there's hard tests. But we have to go through the test so we can have a testimony. And this is my testimony that I was in a dark place. I was lost. I was confused. I was depressed. I had anxiety. I had all these things that served me no good. And through it, he kept delivering me from me because I'm my own worst enemy. And we don't even know it. A lot of times, it ain't the people around us, it's us. We really have to sometimes check ourselves because we be wrecking ourselves. And so we have to know that we are more than enough, that we are worthy of love. We are worthy, but how do you be worthy of love if you never had it And then you don't know who you are. It comes at home. It starts right here with self-love. And if you can't love self, you can't love nobody else properly. And you sure can't allow them to love you properly because you don't know how to treat you. You don't know how to love you. So we have to learn that we train people to love us properly. The way you love you is the way somebody else gonna love you. So if you don't love you wholeheartedly, please don't expect for somebody else to love you wholeheartedly either when you don't know you. Like you're loving an imposter. And when I figured that out, that's where imposter syndrome come from. And we don't even realize it. We run around here, oh, they got imposter syndrome. Yep, but you might have imposter syndrome too because you don't really know who you are. I was that person. I didn't know who I was. I was out here living a lie. They say we fake it to make it. That's what a lot of us is doing. We're out here just faking it to make it and making people think that we got it all together and we don't. And so I had to understand that I didn't have it all. I ain't got it all. I don't have it all. And I have to accept my flaws, but I have to accept my strengths as well because I am a good person. I am resilient. I am strong. I'm stronger than I even knew I was. But I've been strong all my life. See, he had to show me because all the stuff that I had to endure and conquer was strength because I came through it. They told me I wouldn't make it past 21. Here I am. In one more year, I'll be 50.
You look amazing.
Exactly. And I thank God every day that I don't look like what I've been through because I've been through hell and back. But now, because I actually love me and I actually understand who I am, who Tivona Lady V is, inside and out. I'm not just faking it to make it anymore. I'm not literally, I've literally cleaned out my rug. I've sealed up my foundation and I relate it so that it won't have any cracks in it, so that it can be able to be strong when I build my house. Because what's the purpose of building a house on a broken foundation? And we don't even understand that we do it every day. And then we mad because we got cracks in the wall. We got our plumbing is messing up. We got this and that because your roots, you didn't lay them properly. You just threw it up real fast, put a tree right there, and thought, oh, she's beautiful. But you didn't do your blueprint right because you didn't go off of a blueprint. You just went off of just, oh, I got this plan and I'm gonna do it like this. And he tell us, your plan ain't my plan, and my plan ain't your plan. And so I had to learn that. And I had to understand that this is where I gained my freedom. And then I also had to understand that I had to forgive those who trespass against me. And the hardest thing that I did was forgiving my molester. I looked them in the face and I forgave them. And everybody said, oh no, I couldn't do that. Yeah, trust me, it was hard. But I couldn't elevate until this season that I am right now without doing it. See, we have to realize that if we don't let these things go that's holding us back, we'll never get to the next level. We're holding ourselves back because forgiveness isn't for them, it's for you. I had to forgive for myself. And once I forgave them, looked them in the face and said, I forgive you, and I'm asking you to forgive me. And may God, I prayed for them and everything. And at the end of the day, when I walked out, it was like a whole weight just had been lifted off of me. And I didn't even understand. It just felt weird. It just felt different. And about a few days later, I woke up and I had the craziest freedom feeling that I ever had in my life. I've never, ever felt this free in my whole entire life since I was born. Never. And now you say I look good. I look good because I literally no longer live in my trauma. I no longer live in my pain. I no longer live in my hurt. And now I want to teach individuals how to rise, how to roar in their greatness, how to release those old narratives and those old baggage, how to overcome the obstacles that's standing in your way that you just don't understand sometimes. And then how to awaken the rebel within, because it's a little girl, it's a little boy just sitting right here inside your belly. And they like, hey, hey, I'm down here. Hey, do you see me? Hey, I'm ready to bust loose. And you're like, shh, shh, because you are afraid to
Mhm.
really live in your greatness. But if you release that inner child that you've been locking down, you will understand that now you can actually really live your best life, because now you are being free to just be you. And who's better to be free than kids?
Mhm.
Kids are free. And sometimes we lock our inner kid up because that's where our trauma lies. That's where our trauma lies. But if you unleash it and let it go and release it, you will be able to rebuild who you are right now in the present and rebrand your future so that you can rise to your greatness and literally live in the purpose that you have been called to do. And that's how I made it through. That's how I overcame. And that's why I can tell you, baby, it took me a long time because I'm stubborn. See, I know my flaws. I'm stubborn. Some people would have got it a little bit quicker because we don't like a lot of pain. Well, for me, I've lived in pain so long that that's all I knew. So it wasn't nothing to me, but I knew I didn't want to live there anymore. But I had to be stuck. I had to let my stubbornness go and and put down my pride and my big ego and let it go so that God can work on me, so he can make me humble, so that he can show me how great I really am. That I don't have to be over here in the streets acting and pretending that I'm great when all it comes is a whole bunch of drama, a whole bunch of headache, a whole bunch of heartache, a whole bunch of pain, a whole bunch of foolishness, a whole bunch of chaos. See, that's what's on this side of the field. But over here, joy comes in the morning. And every morning I wake up with a whole bunch of joy because I no longer live in my trauma and I don't allow my trauma to define who I am. Was my family mad when I started to share my story? Of course they were. Why? Because I come from an era where what happens in this house stays in this house. You are not to be heard or seen. You're supposed to just let this, and that's it. So they were mad. But guess what? It ain't about them. It's about me sharing my story to help somebody overcome the trauma that they're living in right now, even if it's not molestation, even if it's not sexual abuse, even if it's, you don't know what my little story will have a big impact on somebody else's life. That's just out there. And that needs somebody to say, I understand, baby. I understand what you're going through and what you feel. And it's going to be okay.
Oh my gosh, Tivona, this is so beautiful. How long did it take you, the whole journey, to become free?
So my whole journey, my journey started really in 2009. And it started when I got sick because I'm also a lupus advocate. And so I suffer with lupus. Lupus don't have me, I got it, which meaning that I control it. I will not allow it to control me. And so I was sick and they didn't know why. But my dad had told me, my biological dad had told me so long that because it runs in his side of the family. And he said, you need to go check for lupus. I ain't got no lupus. Again, my stubbornness, but it almost killed me and took me out of here. But God had it. He knew that I was going to be here on this day. So he wasn't ready for me because he knew I had to share my story of how I overcame. And lupus, any autoimmune disease, it's really hard to get through. And you don't know, just because a person look good on the outside don't mean that they feel good on the inside, because it's called an autoimmune disease, which means that you never know when they're flaring. You
Mm.
never know when it's kicking their butt, or when it's mentally attacking them, because it happens to us mentally, emotionally, spiritually, physically. We go through all of these different changes, and a lot of times we don't understand why. We don't understand what's happening to our bodies, what's happening to our minds. And I was doing that, and I got so sick. And it was actually Joyce Myers. I remember feeling so down and so depressed. And I was laying there one night, and she said, I don't know who this is for. That's how she started. I don't know who this is for. She said, but I keep hearing God say, get up. And maybe they're not giving you a job. Maybe you can't work right now. Maybe you are too sick. But God said, get up and start your own and do it yourself. He got bigger plans for you. And I was like, I think she's talking to me. It just was marinating in my spirit like that. And I kind of ignored it because, again, I'm stubborn. Heard the message. Okay. I think it might be for me, but maybe it ain't. We do that a lot to ourselves. We count ourselves out so many times. But I was woke up in the middle of the night, and I could hear like a little voice saying, get up. It's time. Get up. And it got louder, and I was like, I got scared. I started looking around the room like, oh my gosh, is somebody talking to me? What's going on? And then I heard him say, start writing that book. And I was like, I don't know how to write a book. I've been asking people, I've been looking, I've been reaching out. Nobody wants to reach. He said, I don't care, start writing it. And I said, I don't know where to start. Next thing I know, my hands just went to typing. And I'm telling you, they ain't stopped yet. So now what I do is I have actually my now is actually a creative storytelling firm and transformation firm, because storytelling and transformation goes hand in hand. And a lot of times we have to tell our stories for us to heal properly, because sometimes what I know is we can talk all day, and some people not going to cover what needs to be covered because they're afraid of what people say. But when you writing it, when your spirit let go, it's rope. And it's a different type. You seem to release a lot more when you're writing than when you're talking to somebody.
Oh,
That's how we
totally.
do in our journal.
Yeah, yeah. Would you like to talk a little bit about your book?
So I have actually, and it's crazy because since then, I actually from 2000, because I published my very first book in 2010. And to this day, I literally have 8 or 9, 10 books on the shelf myself. Like, it's crazy because I didn't even realize that I had that many books, because I helped so many other people get their books out, that I never paid attention to how many books I actually have of my very own. But I do. I have from poetry to romance dramedy to self-help, which that goes down in the dumps get pumped up, goes with my course that I teach right now to help, individuals get through. And what I did is shares a little bit of my story and how I overcame. And that's why it's called Down in the Dumps, Get Pumped Up. Because I was down in the dumps. I was down, down, down. But I got pumped up. And and it's called Your Inspirational Guide to Your Newfound Freedom. We don't understand. Sometimes we have to go through these steps. Sometimes we have to go through these things, but I promise you will be able to relate to it. And so it goes with that. And then I got a workbook, which I never thought in a million years that I would do it, but I produced a whole workbook, which is called Awaken the Rebel. I like to pull it out, y'all. This is my new workbook. Awaken the Rebel Within, Release, Rebuild, Rebrand Your Voice. And it's a workbook. It literally, you can work in it, you can write in it. It has certain questions about you. And it's asking you about like this one right here, setting your goals. This is our rebuilding stage. You have 3 stages in this book with different assignments that you take for you so that you can learn who you are all the way through, not just halfway or partially, but you can really dig deep into you, whether it's the releasing stage, the rebuilding stage, or the rebranding stage. What I love about this workbook as well is it doesn't matter if you start from the back, the middle, or the front. Wherever you start, you're starting on you because this book is all about you. Nobody else, nobody anything, just you. And it makes us realize who we are. There's things, oh, this is one of my favorite assignments.
Wow, what does your name mean?
Some people don't even understand that. They don't know the power of their name. So if you don't know what your name means, how can you actually find your inner power? How can you actually know who you are thoroughly when you don't know what your name means? Mine's, it literally means sunshine of the earth. And I am every bit of what I portray. As you see, I am bubbly. I'm full of life. I'm out here. I'm like, bang, let's do this. Like, let's get this. I'm gonna bring sunshine to your part of the world where even if it's dark, you're gonna see the sun and it's gonna shine. And I'm out here in this world. I'm about my nature. I'm about loving people. I'm about being able to give and to pour into others so that I can see their tree bloom and that they know that guess what? I can be healthy. I can be all right. I can be strong, even if that means being alone. Because now I'm strong within myself. I'm confident within who I am. You know, it has little things like this one. It's talking about your bucket list. Some of us don't know what's on our bucket list. We have no idea what we want to do. This workbook is literally going to tell you and teach you who you are. It's going to literally make you focus and look at you. Now, I know some of you are afraid to look into yourself, but it's time. It's time because this is your renewal season.
And
And it's time for you to awaken the rebel within. They're waiting on you. They're waiting on you. And now it's time for you to rise to your greatness. What you gonna do with it? That's all I can say with it is what are you gonna do with it?
beautiful. And Tivona, where is the book available for people to purchase? Is it on Amazon?
Yes, all the books are on Amazon under Tivona Elliott or Elliott Night Professionals. And you can find all of them. The workbook, exactly like I said, it's Awaken the Rebel Within. It's right there as well. It is one of the highest books on my label, but it's the most powerfulest book as well because it's about you. It ain't about me. It's about you.
And Tivona, after we finish this conversation, would you be able to actually put those links for people to check it out? Yeah.
I will. I will. I
So
will.
beautiful, amazing. And Tivona, can I ask you, like, how do you work with people? Is it like one-on-one or one-to-many? What's the style that you're helping people to unleash that inside, that power that everyone has?
So I do have group sessions, but I also do one-on-ones.
Mm-hmm.
The reason why I do the one-on-ones is because everybody is different in their walk. And so I actually cater this program directly to you and your needs, not to somebody else, because it ain't about somebody else's journey. It's simply about yours. And I can't put yours with theirs, no matter how much it may look like. Your journey is your journey. So it's catered to you personally and
Yeah.
what you need and your needs, because your needs ain't somebody else's needs. They're just
Mhm.
yours.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And are those consultations online, right? They not in person, they online.
Yes, yes. So I do everybody, no matter where you at. We do it Zoom video as well. It's for an hour. You get my undivided attention. Yes, there is gonna be some homework. I hands out homework because you can't heal if you don't do no work. I don't know why people think that they don't have to put in the work to heal, and then they say, "Oh, I'm healed." No, you're not, because you didn't put in no work, and the little work that you put in wasn't enough for you to really heal. And so I am really a coach. Like, I'm going to coach you through it and guide you through it and give you the tools to put into your tool chest, because this is your time. This is your releasing time. This is your healing time. This is your rerouting time and your renewal time.
Oh, absolutely. And Tivona, from your experience, what is the biggest problem that people actually not connecting to the self, to themselves, not loving themselves? What is that big problem that they have and not able to do that?
Forgiveness.
Wow.
It's forgiveness. Because forgiveness is hard for us, and we don't realize that
Yeah.
healing, peace, and freedom lies in your forgiveness. If you never forgive anybody or the people who hurt you, how will you really heal? How can you really heal? And it's hard because we don't want to, but I was asked the really hard question. He said, "What if I decide that I didn't want to forgive you today?" And I was like, "What you talking about, sir? What do you mean you don't want to forgive me?" But this is real. What if God told you today, "You know what, Ingrid? Nope, not today. I'm not gonna forgive you today. I don't. You can ask 100 times, but nope, not today." You feel a certain type of way. So if He can forgive us, because the last time I checked, we just come out of Resurrection Week, and so when He rose, He when He was on that cross, He said, "Forgive them, for they know not what they do." He asked His Father to forgive us, for we
Mm.
not know what we do. Not saying that we didn't know what we was doing, because we did, but we didn't know the wrath that we would get for messing with God's only child.
Mm.
But He said, "Forgive them," because we didn't know the wrath that's gonna come down on our heads. We didn't know that, and He did. He forgave us so that we can live and be abundance in our living and our giving. But we have to learn how to forgive, because that's where our peace lies. And if we don't forgive, how can we literally rise above and be in renewal if we still holding on to this hurt, to this pain, to this whatever it may be? How can we really rise above if
Yeah.
we're gonna hold on to that? Well, it's not time for that. It's time for us to heal. It's time for us to rise above it. And it's time for us to really be in and live in our truth, and know that it's okay to forgive them so that we can forgive us for holding on for so long. Sometimes you need to give yourself permission to forgive, give yourself permission to heal, give yourself permission to love you. Some of us need that because we're so busy waiting on somebody else to give us permission to do it when we already know how to do it. So give yourself permission to do these things. You'll find your freedom there. You'll find your peace there. I promise you. You don't have to wonder what's on the other side and be afraid. I'm telling you what's on the other side right now. The problem is, will you put one foot in front of the other and take the leap? and say, I want my freedom today. I don't want to wait.
Wow, that is so good, so powerful. The energy that is radiating from you, Tivona. Oh my gosh, go straight to my heart. I can feel it. This is beautiful. This is so beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing your beautiful story. And just before we're gonna go to Vona, when I always like to ask this question. Um, when you hear the words next level transformation, what are the first thoughts that are coming to your mind?
Elevation, elevation, meaning that it's time for us to elevate because we're about to go to a next level. We're about to go higher. But you can't get to that next level if you don't let go. If you're still holding on, because all you're doing is every time you think you're going to the next level, you dragging all of this baggage and this luggage with you, and which makes your journey harder because you keep picking up all this baggage, and the more baggage you pick up, the harder the journey is. But when you release it and let go, you just la 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 la. You know, you're gonna make some dips and turns, and you might stumble a little bit, but you don't break, and you don't have to pull so hard to get up. You just go to your next level, and you can do it with ease and clarity and persistence, knowing that you don't have all this stuff weighing you down. You don't have somebody pulling at your ankles saying, nope, you ain't going today. No, I'm a level up. I'm going to the next level. I'm going to be, elevated in my greatness right now. And so that's what it means to me.
Oh my gosh, this is so beautiful. This is and before we go, the final thoughts for the audience, what would you like to say, those who are listening right now, or maybe gonna be watching the replay in the coming days?
So I'm going to tell you that you are a priority. Not
Mm.
only are you a priority, but you are more than enough, and you are worthy. Never forget those things, that you are the daughter, the son of a king. You are a priority. Remember you, because if there's no you, what is they going to do?
Wow.
Make you a priority first. And then you can pour from your overflow than to pour from your own cup. Because I'd rather give you my overflow. Because when I start releasing my cup, man, it's like breaking the $20 bill or $100 bill. As soon as you break it, you done held on to it for days. As soon as you break it, it's gone. That's how it happens when we start pouring from our own personal cup instead of saying no once once the overflow is gone. Because no is a complete sentence. It says no, period. We need to start using it and knowing that it's okay to say no. And it's okay to not be okay some days. And it's okay to live in your greatness. And it's okay to roar like the queen or the king that you are. Let's roar in our greatness. That's all I can say about that.
Oh my gosh, that is beautiful. This is so like I feel like you gave me wings now to fly. Like I'm on the completely different level, girl. Thank you so much for elevating me.
Elevating, baby. We are elevating in this season. Yes, we are.
Oh my God, give me a hug. That was so beautiful. Thank you so much, Tivona. Thank you for coming here. And please don't forget to share the links. Guys, thank you so much for watching. Tivona, please stay it for 1 sec. I'm just gonna stop
Yep.
the live video. Thank you so much again.
Hey, thank you.
I think